Hi friends, my name is Akil Ahmed, and in this particular video I will show you how to debug the SSIS package. So this is the basic SSIS package, which first of all deletes a table test data if it exists in the ahmed.testing database, and then it recreates the test data table. So you can also verify that the table exists at the testing database, and right now it doesn't have any records in it. And then this is the for each loop container. So it basically loads all data, all CSV files from C files location, and then it assign the value of the current file to the file path SSIS variable. And then inside the load data flow task, we are actually loading the CSV file from the source location to a SQL Server table test data. And then we have row count transformation, which actually holds the value of the current file path in the record count SSIS variable, which is of integer type. So we will be debugging this particular SSIS package using the breakpoints. A breakpoint in SSIS package can actually pause the execution of the SSIS package at a particular location. So for example, we can put a breakpoint here, and then we can put a breakpoint here as well. So in this particular SSIS package, we will pause the execution of the SSIS package using the breakpoints, and then we will verify data at the SQL Server table, and we will also verify the values of these two SSIS variables, file path and record count. So the value of the file path should be the value of the current file that is being loaded to the SQL Server table, and the record count should contain the actual count of records that being loaded to the SQL Server table. So in this particular example, we are loading the data from these two tables. So our first file contains around 30 records in it, and another file contains around 21 records in it. So we will verify that while debugging the SSIS package. So first of all, we will put a breakpoint at the execute SQL task. So we will be sure that before execution of this SSIS package, the record count of the SQL Server table should be 0. So we can pause the execution of the SSIS package by right click on the execute SQL task and then click on edit breakpoints. And now we have these number of events on which we can actually pause the execution of the SSIS package. So but most of the time we deal with the on pre-execute and on post-execute events. So the on pre-execute event actually got fires when the control just comes to this particular task, but it doesn't execute the task, while the on post-execute event actually got fires just after execution of this particular task. So in this particular task, I am going to put the breakpoint on the on post execute event. So once this particular task will be completed, so I will make sure that the data in my SQL Server table should be 0. And then under the load data flow task, we are actually loading data from CSV file to the SQL Server table. So I will put a breakpoint here. I will put actually two breakpoints here. First on the on pre-execute and the second on the on post-execute. So I will verify the value of the record count before execution of this data flow task and after execution of this data flow task, and we can also verify the data in the SQL Server table as well on these two events. So click OK. So to execute the SSIS package, simply click start, and then it will start the debugging as well. So our first task has been completed, and it should have dropped and recreated the SQL Server table in the testing database test data. So let's return the query, select star from test data. So the table doesn't have any data in it as of now, and so let's resume the process. So again click continue, and now we are inside the for each loop container. So at this point of time, the value of the record count should be 0 because it has not loaded any data yet. However, the value of the file path should be like a C files test data _1.csv because it's inside the for each loop container. So the for each loop container should have assigned the value to the file path. So to check the values of these two SSIS variables, click debug and then go to the Windows and then select locals. Inside the locals, expand the variables, and then you can check the value file path. So so you can see that the initial value of the file path was blank. We have not provided any value for the file path. However, the SSIS package has assigned the value C files test data 1.csv to the file path, and if you check the value of the record count, so it should be 0. So record count value is 0 as of now, and if you again check the data, so it should be 0 as well. However, if you execute the package, it should have loaded data from the first file. So 30 records got loaded from the CSV file, and so you can see that the record count has changed from 0 to 30. However, the value of the flat file will be 1 as well, because it has loaded just the first file. So you can verify the data at SQL Server side as well. Just simply click execute. So now you can see that we have data in the SQL Server table. So by this way you can pause the execution of the SSIS package and can verify data at SQL Server side, and verify the values of the SSIS variables as well. So if you click on the continue, so the loop will again iterate, and then it will grab the value of the second file, which will be C files test data underscore 2. So let's click continue. So the value of the file path has been changed, because now we are going to load the second file. However, the file has not been loaded yet, so to verify that, simply click execute. So the record count is 30 as of now. However, if you again click on continue, so the second file will be loaded as well. So if you open the load data, so you can see that it has loaded 21 records, and the record count should be changed to 21 from 30. So it has loaded data from the second file as well. And if you rerun the select query, so you can see that now we have 51 records. So we had 30 records in first file and 21 records in second file, so we have total 51 records. So click continue to finish the execution of the SSIS package. So this way we can verify the values at a particular point of time in the SSIS variables, and then we can verify data at the SQL Server level as well. So we have stopped the execution of the SSIS package. So to delete the breakpoints from the SSIS package, simply click debug menu and then select delete all breakpoints. So it will delete the breakpoints from the SSIS package. And sometimes we also need to look at the data that is being loaded to the SQL Server table. So to look at the data that is being loaded, we can put a data viewer. So click on this data path and then right click and click enable data viewer. It will actually enable the data viewer in the data flow task, so you can verify data that is being loaded to the SQL Server table. So to rerun the SSIS package, simply click start, and once the control will come to this point, it will open the data viewer like this. So now you can verify data that is being loaded to the SQL Server table. So we had these these columns, and so this data is being loaded. 30 records are being loaded to the SQL Server table. So you can click this particular button to continue the processing. So now this is the data from the second file, so click next. So this way we can look at the data using the data viewer. Thanks guys for watching the video, and if you like the video, then please click the like button and do subscribe to our channel to see more videos on SSIS and related technologies. Thank you so much.